Good evening, welcome to Success in the City. My name's Helen Webster and I'm with the lovely
Sandra Scott, and our fabulous guest today is
Peter Dickinson.
Okay, also known as Peter Dicko. Okay, yeah, which is why he's got Peter Dicko on his thing. Yeah. So thank you so much, Peter, for giving your time up today. We've known Peter a long time, and Peter's going to tell us all about his exciting journey. But first, we do a shout out to the kids. Any little people who've done amazing things this week. Sam, do you want to go first?
Well, I will go first this week, and he's not that little. Just been supporting a young lad. A couple of lessons last week and this week, today, tomorrow. Who's got a Spanish exam on Thursday, a mock GCSE, and he's worked really, really hard. He's a bright lad. I have no idea how anyone can get through 5 years and not know what he knows without knowing, he just knows nothing or knew nothing. And it's not his fault. That's, whichever school he's gone to, etc. That's just a nightmare. And he's absolutely grafted. And his mum's just messaged me before and said, I've got a different boy now. And I thought, please that. Yeah, he's going to come on board, but he's going to go with one of the tutors because I'm full. But just a lovely, lovely lad. And it just shows, and I just want to say all the time, if people think they can't do something, there's another way where you can do it. Don't feel that way. And he's kept going and kept going. So I'm dead proud of him. So well done to George.
Well done, George. Well done. Dicko, I'm going to ask you I know you've got lots of people in your life, and I'm going to ask you to give a shout out to your little people.
Well, I have 4 grandchildren, the youngest being 3 weeks old. So I'd like to shout out to baby Orla, who's doing really well. But also to Ella, Emmy and Leo. And Ella last night sent us all a little video of her wish list for Father Christmas. Her wish list said, I don't want everything on my wish list. I just want 2 things: for my baby brother Leo to start walking and to start a football team.
Yay!
So, yeah. So that's their wish.
That's a good wish. They're 2 good wishes. Well done. So yes, a big shout out to all the little people. Well done. And congratulations on being a granddad again for the 4th time. It's only new, which is lovely. So my shout, as you know, I don't have any children, okay? But my shout out is to my dog, Poppy. So she did the Muddy Dog Run on Saturday and was hilarious. So I'm going to shout out to my Poppy dog. There you go. Yeah.
Did you do the muddy run with her?
Yeah, you had to do it with her. Yeah, it was hilarious.
just let her go and course her at the end. Yeah, she did.
You'd never catch her, would you? Okay, so success this week for you personally, something amazing that's happened to you this week. What about you, Sam?
I thought of something before and I thought that's going to be my success. And of course, me being me, it's completely gone out my head.
You're alive is a good one.
No, I knew what it was going to be, but it's not been a success at all because it backfired. So let's not go there. No, a few little successes, really, a few basic ones. Let's go for the obvious. Through being sick, I lost 1/2 stone. What more do you want?
Genius. I was dead jealous when I saw you before.
Yeah, we'll have all the health people on going, no, I know.
Just pass your sickness round, Sandra.
I know. I was like, God, that's a dead good one. You are looking a bit like trim there. I'm loving it.
Did you think it was Kate Moss when it came on before I did?
Oh my God, who's that?
I was like that. It's Kate Moss. Oh no, it's called Steve. Oh no, it's aside.
Pete, success this week for you?
Oh, without doubt, being at the Liverpool game where Liverpool won. Man City, that was a big thing. And also putting final touches to my trip to Nepal, which was sorting visas out, vaccines, etc. So yeah, a few other bits.
We'll find out more. Yeah, we'll find out more about that. So I'm going to say the Muddy Dog Run on Saturday, which was just the funniest thing ever. So it was hilarious. So I did it with the dog, and I had a little look, and it was for Battersea dogs, and Manchester was fully booked, so you could go to Derby or Leeds, were the closest to us. And I was like, well, I've been to Leeds. I've never been to Derby. I think I'll go to Derby. So we drove to Derby to do the run, but it was hilarious. So yeah, so anyone who's got a dog whose dog's a bit nuts, defo do it next year. It's super well organised. It was just hilarious. Okay, so we're going to play this or that. Are you going first, San, or am I?
Go first, if you like.
Okay, I'm going to ask Peter first. Okay.
Go on then.
Cycling or hiking?
Ooh, cycling.
So, am I cycling on a flat road and walking on a flat road, or am I cycling up a mountain in Wales or hiking up a mountain in Wales?
Whatever you want to do.
Okay, so if I'm on flat ground, it's a bike, obviously. If I'm in Wales and the wilderness, it's walking there. That's that. But it's winter,
I agree.
so you can do such a terrible thing. Okay. Go on, Hel, what about you?
Hiking. I hate cycling. My bum cheeks just burn and my thighs burn after being about 11 seconds on a bike. It's horrendous, honestly. But I used to pedal for like ever. And now it just, my thighs just like burn, like I've done like a million squats within about the first. We did a bike, somebody said do a bike ride and it was like a 30-mile bike ride, and I hadn't been on a bike for ages. I went, yeah, okay, sound, I'll do that.
Hang on a minute, hang on. Someone said do a bike ride. It was a 30-mile bike ride. I hadn't been on, so I said, yes, sound okay. Interesting. Go on, carry on.
For the last 6 miles, I had to pedal standing up because my bum cheeks were that sore.
30 miles, I'm not surprised.
You didn't have enough chamois cream or proper shorts, probably.
I had the proper shorts, I had the gel seat, but I didn't have chamois cream. But oh my days. Yeah, I had to stand up and pedal. I was just like in bits. And then they couldn't, like, it was hurting for about 5 days after. So yeah, hiking all the way. Hiking. Go on, San, your go.
Okay. Peter, would you rather go to a European away game or a national final in Wembley?
If the European away game was a final, yeah, a European away game final.
Oh.
If it was just a normal European away game or a final here, it'd have to be a final.
Okay. Elle?
I think I'd say exactly the same as Pete.
Okay. Yeah. Me too. I've never been to an away game in Europe, but I have been to Wembley twice. The old Wembley, obviously. And before lots of people were born. But yeah. So that's my only experience of them. So there we go. That's what I'd say the same. Okay, go on, Hel.
I thought I was gonna pick that question, and I thought no, because I think so. Sandra and I don't confer on these questions. But mine is a live music gig or a live football match.
Football.
What about you, San?
Okay, hang on. The criteria in both of these is who's playing.
So your favourite football, your favourite football match, or your favourite pop star? I know.
Okay, so like if it's a mega group like The Who or something, it's the band. Because they're like rare events, whereas the football plays all the time.
You can only do one for the rest of your life.
Oh, stop. Ridiculous. Okay,
it's not a choice.
Music first for me. I know you'd be the other way, Pete.
Yeah, and well, it's dead hard, that, isn't it?
Yeah,
lots of variables.
Yeah, I'd probably go footy as well. Okay. I'd probably go sporting events. Yeah. Go on, Sam.
Okay, Peter, spaghetti bolognese or steak and ale pie?
Spaghetti bolognese.
Oh, pie is my favourite food in the whole world.
Spaghetti bolognese.
Is it?
If it was one or the other forever.
Yeah.
Oh, pie, 100%, yeah.
Well, that's interesting because Roman's girlfriend's Italian and she just thinks what's it with the pastry? They're lovely. They're pies. So it's dead easy. Roll that, put that out. She said, oh, it's the nicest food she's ever had. So we're on a winner with the pies.
Yeah, pie, 100%.
I have to say home-baked pies are the best.
Home-baked pies are amazing. Home-baked just do incredible pies.
Indeed.
Yeah, and they do a vegan scouse pie as well. Fried egg or poached egg? San.
Oh, again. What's it on? Okay, overall poached. Poached. I've grown to love them. Poached eggs.
What about you, Pete?
Yeah, poached. I go poached. Healthier.
Defo healthier.
Yeah, I think I'd go poached as well. Although if I was having like a sausage bomb, I'd have to have a fried egg on it.
Yeah, you can't have sausage
Can't
and
have
poached egg.
Poached egg doesn't go, does it?
No.
No. Cool. Okay, San, over to you.
Well, so are we done with our this or that? Is that enough?
You go first. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. But we're done.
Okay, so we're going to introduce tonight's fabulous, wonderful guest, actually. And, you know, our show is all about local people who are just doing great stuff, ordinary people who live in your streets and off they go and do amazing things. Peter's going to talk to us about all the fabulous work he does for charity, through the foundation to do with his workplace. And if he wants to tell us a bit about his job and how he got to where he is in his job, he's very humble, I know, and about all the great charity work he's doing, and his major event that's coming up imminently, because he's off to Nepal, which is a big event that's been postponed and rebooked a few times with the pandemic, and what he's doing there and why. So Peter Dicko, take it away, because we want to hear all about what you're doing charity wise.
Right, my journey started, left school, grammar school at 16, worked for a shipping office, which the only reason I got the job was because I was good at cricket and it was my mum's place. So the boss at her place had me playing cricket for them when I was 14 and said, if you want a job, you can have a job. So sport came in handy there.
Hey, that was lucky.
Yeah, so I worked there till I was about 20, 21 when I got made redundant from shipping on my birthday, which wasn't very nice, but
that was the way.
I was on the dole for 3 months, but worked in the fish and chip shop during that time anyway. And then my dad was an insurance agent for Royal London, so he said to me, "You've been good with figures." Even when I was 10, 11, I was collecting money for the Echo, doing a paper round. Yeah. So that's how I originally got into insurance when I was about 20, 21, which seems a lifetime ago now. It's 41 years ago. So yeah, it's a long time. So yeah, I started collecting insurance in Huyton and Belvale, tough areas, but lovely people, just tough going around collecting money on the streets as it was then as a young man. And then progressed from there through to, I worked for Prudential, Royal Bank of Scotland, then became an independent financial advisor, and then set up on my own when I was 37. Had 2 young children at the time, so it was a big wrench to actually leave a well-paid job in a bank and start on your own, but that's exactly what I did and never regretted it since. I think working for yourself, if you can make a go of it, is probably the best thing you can ever do. You get to put in as much time and effort as you want for your own rewards, but also gives you freedom to add a young family. So it helped me to be able to go and see a lot of what the children did, football, cross country, etc. So that was really, really useful. And then for the last 14 years, I've sort of been working in conjunction with a company called St. James Place, a FTSE 100 company, run my own company, have 5 staff within the company. And we try and do the best for clients. We're holistic financial advisors. We don't just deal in one area. We try and help people, as I always say, from cradle to grave, because we cover all aspects of that. And we often give free advice to people just because I like to help people in all walks of life. And I know that I would want the same done to me as I do to people. So, yeah, so that was the journey in terms of working life. I know it spanned 40 odd years, but yeah, it's a long time in financial services. I've seen lots of changes over many years, but I really enjoy what I do, and I'm not ready to retire, even though I probably could. A lot of people say I should, but no, I'm still feel young enough in mind and body to carry on. And having my daughter join me last year, I want to make sure that she's fully au fait with everything and can continue where I leave off. So yeah,
lovely.
So with working with St James Place, I've been involved in St James Place Foundation for 14 years. The foundation is probably one of the major givers of money percentage of people who work there. So there was a white paper done probably about 5-6 years ago, which was covenant giving through staff through big large companies. And St James Place were right at the top of that, because I think we're still about 93% of all people pay every month out of their salary into the foundation, which, for having been involved in different charities, and I'll go on to a couple of them, but the sustainability of a charity is really important. So if they know that they've got this money coming in every month of every year from a number of people, it means they can support people not just as a one-off payment, but they can actually support them over a number of years, which another charity I'm on the board of, or was on the board of till recently, managed to get a grant off the foundation for 3 years twice for the things that they do. We support large charities, small charities. So through our own office, of which I've been the representative for the foundation, go down to meetings and that in London. I'm still on the committee now, even though somebody else has taken over that role. So you get to see an awful lot of great charities in and around our area. Our Liverpool office covers North Wales, Chester, Liverpool, Birkenhead, Warrington, all the surrounding areas. And probably in that 14 years, we've given, well over 400,000 or 500,000 just to small local charities. So,
well, I know, Peter, we had Rob on here from Love Jasmine, and I know you recently gave them a grant there, a local. I don't know what that was for though, but I remember him saying he got a grant off you for some.
So I mean, we're always looking for smaller local charities, because within our own office we have small grants that we can give out used to be up to about 2,500. I think it's just increased recently, but in the main, it's just, we're looking for not the big charities. We're looking for the ones where £2,000 or £2,500 makes a big difference, because they haven't got lots of money. And I know lots of charities have struggled over the last few years, but having been on a board of a charity, I understand the hardship of trying to go out with cap in hand and ask people for money all the time. So we're more than happy to support smaller local charities. If people can get in touch with us for that, because we don't particularly want the large ones that have millions of pounds in reserves. But the main themes that we have, which run through the foundation, is children's charities, hospices, cancer charities, and mental health. So they're the 4 themes. So you can actually get slightly larger grants for them themes. But even if you're a normal charity that sort of doesn't cover that, but might cover children and adults, you can still get a smaller grant from us as well. So we give lots of £1,000 out to small charities that aren't one of our themes. So
how are the themes picked, Pete? How did they select the themes? Is it
originally, they ask the community. So because we all give money, and we also do lots of charity events, which I'll touch on in a minute, but they do ask for people's opinions. At one point, we did have Help the Heroes was one of the chosen charities, but that's progressed to mental health now, because lots and lots of people have got friends and family who are affected by these things. So I think you tend to find that that's where most of the sort of ideas come from. People who are affected. We've got children who are ill. We've got people who've had cancer and people in hospices. So they do now and again ask for the opinion of the whole community, of which there is probably close to 10,000 people throughout the country, up and down the country, that are linked to St James Place in any way.
Because the foundation over the UK has raised like millions, hasn't it?
We've raised over 100 million in the 30 years, and it's the one thing about the foundation, having been the representative down there, you get to a little bit more insight into it, is that we don't hold on to a lot of money. So I know certain charities do and have to for certain reasons, but in the main, if last year, I think we raised something like 6 or 7 million, which was then the shareholders of St James Place also match fund. So for every £1 that we get off somebody, it's match funded. And in it, I think it was in our 2050 year, they double matched it. So for every £1, it was worth £3.
Wow.
So it's not only the people within St James Place that's self-employed, that's employed, it's also the shareholders of St James Place that agree every year to match fund, which is a massive thing, you know, to get that extra money. And then on top of that, you've got the giving, you know, not just giving.
The gift aid.
Gift aid, sorry, yeah. So again, another amount on top, which helps everyone really.
Yeah,
but
definitely. Yeah.
Every single office throughout the country does different things. So we have quiz nights, we have coffee mornings. There are normally at least 4 big challenges a year. So I've been on 9 or 10 cycle rides to all over London, Paris. Last year was coast to coast. We've done Cork, Dublin. We've done Mont Ventoux, which is on my fridge there because we went to the top of that. So that was a extreme 43 degrees of heat, and going up Mont Ventoux wasn't pleasant. So I'd have opted for a hike that day. But yeah, when you're in the saddle for 7 or 8 hours a day, that hurts.
Yeah,
as you know from your 30 miles. So
lots
of people do lots of things. Some people do their own sort of fundraising through marathons and different types of things, but it all goes into the one pot that then is spread. And in particular, there's a couple of youth on-side youth clubs around the country. We're just we've just sponsored our 4th or 5th one, which was in Warrington, which has just opened recently. In Warrington, we gave, I think it was £500,000 to the one in Birkenhead, which I saw from more or less the ground upwards. I saw it getting built because I was the actual rep at the time. What a fabulous place that is, you know. And it's all, again, giving somewhere for our young people to go, because when we were younger, there were youth clubs, there were boys clubs, there were all sorts of different things, and now there's next to nothing.
Peter, I was listening to Tony Snell's had a guest on Radio Merseyside, and someone you know, Helen, isn't it?
Who's coming on? I've finally pinned him down because he didn't swear on the radio. He can now come on. He said,
who runs Walton Youth Club, and he was talking about this, and he was talking about they had a space in a school, and he said about exactly what you've just said. You know, and he said in the early, you know, I went to one in Egbert, and the Methodist one, it was in Dundonald Road.
Yeah.
And I used to go there when I was young, and that's flats now, nice apartments.
Yeah.
So a lot of these places just don't exist, or even if it was like a church one, you went through the halls on the facilities aren't there. So they actually go around the city, the Walton area, in a big bus, and they have people who walk around the streets, and we were saying loads of it's voluntary. It was really, so you're absolutely right. And I know a lot of people who've been involved in that. They're the Hive, as it's called, in Birkenhead. It's a tremendous setup, and quite a few of us have been to see it in various capacities. I've been to a fundraiser at Thornton Hall for it, etc. And the facilities they are providing over the water are incredible. They really are, and a lot of areas could take a leaf out of that venue.
They could, because they help the young people not just to have a place to play football or boxing or anything like that. It's life skills. It's a bit of learn how to cook. It's hairdressers. It's music. It's so much diversity in it that for young people, we should really have one in every single city, that, you know, especially the inner city areas that need it.
So you do so much locally, the charities, etc. So is this a bit unusual that you're off to Nepal?
Yeah. So this all came about. One of my colleagues down south went to Nepal in 2012, and I remember because I was already with St James Place then, and they did a Everest base camp for a number of them, but he actually went to the top of Everest, so he climbed Everest, and he took a team of people up with him, and he obviously kept in touch with them afterwards. And then 3 years later, when the avalanche hit, or the earthquake, whatever, earthquake, there were about 9,000 people in that area that got killed. And some of the people that he'd met were affected by that. So he set up this charity called Supporting Nepal's Children. So ever since then, they've had things through St. James Place Foundation where we've sent books and different stuff. But he got involved in arranging to build a school out there to replace one of the schools that was lost. They then built a second school. They built a vocational centre. So it's been going on since 2015, so the last 7 years. And each year they either do Everest Base Camp or Build and Trek. So the Build and Trek, which is the one I'm on, is where you actually get involved, where we raise the money for the building, which we've raised enough money to build the building. We just need to furnish it inside now. And so when we go, it's sort of halfway through. So we'll be helping for 6-7 days on the building site itself, just to give them a little bit of a lift, with 15 of us doing manual labour, probably getting stuff up there quicker than it would when there's just, I don't know, 5 or 6 of them building it. And then after we've finished that, we'll then go for a trek for another 6 or 7 days up slightly higher. So yeah, it really appealed to me because we would see what we're raising the money for. Everest Base Camp, which we've got a group of people who are out in Everest Base Camp at this moment in time as we speak. They left about 4 days ago. So they raise money exactly the same way as us for the same cause. It's just that they normally do it alternate years. But because they got cancelled twice and we've been cancelled once, we've been training with them together. So we got to know the other team as well. So we're all sort of good mates now. So we've been doing, I think we've done 7 or 8 weekends in the lakes just to get used to walking for 6, 7, 8 hours a day, which is what we'll be doing. You can't really replicate the altitude because
I was going to say, what altitude are you going to? You said you're going to be going a bit higher.
Yeah, so I think Kathmandu, when we land there, that's already higher than Ben Nevis as a place anyway. Yeah. And then I think we're going about 3,500, 800 meters, whereas the base camp are going, I think it's 7,000 or 8,000. So
okay, I'm just doing a quick conversion here to feet for that because I haven't got a clue. Okay,
so you need to look at, before you go, Pete, Wim Hof. The Iceman, Wim Hof. He does breathing techniques for altitude sickness.
Does he? Right.
Yeah, I'll send you that. I read this book. I watched this program and I read this book. And my dream is to do Base Camp Everest. And
yeah, well, I originally signed up for the one that they're actually on now, but it was 3 years ago, so it was 2019. But unfortunately, my dad was really ill at the time. Sadly passed away. But so I pulled out of that one. And then they said to me that this was all coming up, so I went on that one. But I would still like to do that.
Do that next year.
I started watching Aftershock on Netflix about last week.
No.
Yeah, which was all about the avalanche.
It's all about the avalanche, isn't it? Yeah.
Peter, so when you go for your slightly higher trek, it's 3,800 meters. Did you say? It's just
something
under
around that figure, about
just under 12,500 feet. Now, when you're on the plane, the oxygen masks drop down at 13, about plus or minus 500, 13. So actually, potentially at 12,500 feet, the oxygen comes down on an aircraft. Will you be having oxygen, or will you just be getting below that height? That's what I need to know now.
Well, even those who are doing base camp, they won't have oxygen. They just do it whereby you actually do a day acclimatizing, and then they bring you down to go back up again to a slightly higher level. I mean, we won't be going anywhere near as high as what the other guys are doing because we're spending more of our time doing the build. But yeah, they said anybody at any time could be hit by altitude sickness because until you get up there and your body does it, I mean, Steve Downey did it recently, didn't he? But he was okay. But I think if you've been a smoker as well, they say you're actually got more chance because you've got less lung capacity. So yeah, so
not breathing. Yeah.
So when you're in the plane cabin, normally, I should say, when the cabin altitude changes to that, obviously you'd be at 35,000 feet in an aircraft, but your body, it thinks the cabin altitude is usually maintained to about 8,000 to 8,500 feet. So when you're on an aircraft, that's where your body thinks it's at anyway. Although the passengers are sitting down, they're not physically.
Yeah.
So your body's fine. If you're fine on an aircraft, you're fine at 8,500 anyway. So that's really interesting. Exciting.
Yeah, I mean, they do say you just do everything slowly because you just don't do things quickly. You just, when you're going up the 3,000 steps, wherever it is, it's just slowly.
Yeah.
My goodness.
So that's
what they say, isn't it? On the they have a little saying, don't they? And it's like slowly as you go. Kilimanjaro, because we were looking at doing Kilimanjaro, it's the same. You know, the last day it takes something like 6 hours to do 5K, which is just unheard of, isn't it? Because you can do 5K in about 35 minutes. But it takes, because it's basically like one step. And Steve's been up, he's done a few little challenges, hasn't he? You know,
he
stuff.
has,
But no, I think the build is really, really exciting to, as you said, you know, to see where the money goes. Are you going to do a little blog about it?
It depends on our accessibility to Wi-Fi, etc., and signals when we're out there. I know we will carry a proper phone that works on the mountains and stuff, but I'm sure when we're trekking we probably have a lot less. But while we're in the camp building, I'm sure we'll have, because the girl who is already out there, she's one of the main girls of the charity. She went out 2 or 3 weeks beforehand, and she sent a video to us of the build itself. So I've got that, you know, where she's gone up the steps and said, "This is where you're going to be building," and stuff. So so it's exciting.
What are you most excited about seeing when you go?
Do you know what? They've said they do a sports day with the kids, so they said that's just fabulous, because you then working on the building site. Obviously, you're only meeting the people who are doing the build, but to actually get to meet some of the children and have a great laugh with them and challenge with them will be really good. I mean, the vocational centre itself is, once we've completed it, and we've got, thankfully, we've had a few people who've sponsored plaques to put up in the actual place itself. Children of, I think it's, I can't say for definite, but it's somewhere between the age of 15 and 21, 22. They get to stay there for 3 months, because it's an on-site, so they live there as well as work there. They get to learn a trade, one of 4 trades, which is electrician, plumber, I think it's welder and tailor. So they then get to go back to their villages, because they come from all the outlying villages to learn the trades. And they then can take it back, use it in their own villages, or it gives them the chance to go and get a job to send money back to their own families. So what I do like about it is its sustainability. So you just allowing people, not just giving them a handout for handout's sake, which is good in itself, but you're actually teaching them to actually do something with that, and hopefully
giving them skills, isn't it?
Yeah, skills for life.
Giving them skills to be able to go back, as you say. You know, sometimes they might go back into the village and they could teach other people, or, you know, support and help the villagers, or, you know, something like that.
Definitely.
That's amazing. I think that's
and it's just practical, and it's the future, isn't it? Because then, as is the tradition, they'll probably pass on the trade to their children, etc. Peter, do you like rice?
I don't mind rice, but I believe, and they've told us we won't be eating any meat, because we don't know what the meat is.
Anyone thinks off to
rice and veg.
For anyone who thinks pieces off to a great jolly to Nepal, you absolutely are. My son, went, as you know, because you actually supported him when he was going, you know. My son went for 3 months to, Helen did a massive fundraiser for him, actually, to Nepal. And he wasn't a lover of rice. He eats most things, but he wasn't a lover of rice before he went. He can't look at it now, because he had it for breakfast morning. But he said, "Mum, I am convinced that we had the worst food out of every family." It was just so, like that. He came back and he's quite chunky, right? He's like so skinny. I was like, oh.
Like who wants to be a celebrity? Get me out of here, isn't it? When you leave beating the rice and beans on the rations.
Well, hopefully I'll lose a few pounds while I'm out there.
Yeah, you'll come back like that. You come back, you'd be like Kate Moss, like that. Full circle. That's incredible.
How many people are going out with you, Pete?
So we've got 15 on our trip. We've had a couple of pulled out, so we've got 2 or 3 people that we've not actually met at all. 2 are coming from Italy, which are relations of somebody. So there are a few people we've not met, but in the main, we've met most of them quite a number of times. So that's quite good. We've sort of bonded quite well. So over a few beers and a few walks.
So where are you going to be sleeping?
So we've got little tents on the campsite, and then we are sleeping in tea houses on the way up on the trek. So amazing. So certainly won't be
no, but
3 or 4 star, but it's a it's a life experience. Yeah,
they made a shower. They put water. They put a few holes in it. They had a plastic bag. They put some holes in. They put the water in, and one held it, and that's how they made a shower for themselves in the morning and stuff like that. But these are just great experiences, you know. It's such a brilliant opportunity, isn't it? A wonderful thing to do. And you know that's how the people live there. That's the hardships they have to live with, you know, themselves.
Yeah, and I don't think at times we appreciate, you know, when we talk about how things are tough here, you know, they're nothing like what we grew up in. You know, we grew up in a terraced house with a tin bath in front of the fire and no the outside toilet and no showers, no baths. That was it. That's just the way it was. But I think the toughness today is not as bad as it used to be anyway.
No, not at all.
For us,
What a wonderful thing you're doing for them, though. You really are. And just to say, I think from a personal note, you must be the most, nothing against any financial advisors, but you are truly an ethical person. And I think, you know, we're in business and you can do business with people, but when you do business with somebody and they are a person who just has these are their core values and they're always helping others and it's what they want to do and it's what they believe in, etc., like you do. And you will, and you've helped me massively. I always tell everyone, and you know, I've recommended you to friends and they've not done business with you, but you've been able to advise them and just said, no, you're better doing that where you are, you're better leaving that pension where it is. And it's just lovely to be able to do business and work with people who are just so ethical to the core. So this is just an extension of your character that you're off to do this in Nepal, and I think it's a wonderful thing and very, very typical of you. I want to know if you've got in any scrapes before on your adventures and your fundraising activities.
Scrapes, usually with French drivers. Yeah, well, I did. Yeah. I on probably the easiest challenge. I won't say easy, none of them are easy, but on probably the flattest challenge, shall I say, when we're doing London Amsterdam on the second day. Well, actually, on the first day when we were getting the boat from down by Colchester, somewhere Essex way. It was we were doing to Holland, so wherever it goes from down south. Could have been Horwich, yeah. And we had finished the day. We'd been up and down. It was quite tough. We were all tired. Coming down onto the ship, and my tires got caught in the grooves of the ship, and I went tousled over a couple of times, landed on my back. Fortunately, I had a carry bag, so I wasn't too damaged. Next day in Holland on the flat, doing about 10 miles an hour. Caught the wheel off the guy in front and went arse over. You know what? And damaged all my shoulder, ligaments in my shoulder and everything. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to carry on. And it was probably one of the nicest, easiest, because we've been telling them, go somewhere nice and flat where we can all just ride nicely rather than up mountains. And unfortunately, I was in a sling for the rest of it. So,
what's been your favourite one so far out of all that you've done?
Gosh, the favourite one. Gosh, we've done a lot. Cork Dublin was very interesting for different reasons. Not just because the Queen was travelling from Dublin to Cork and we were going from Cork to Dublin the opposite ways, but we had a long session the day before we started, which we arrived too early. Too many Guinnesses. London Paris was probably, because it was the first real long one that we did, and it was in quite extreme heat. So, and that was probably, we had some great laughs on that. I think it was only the second one I did or third one I did, and we just had a great group of people. And I remember, like, we always, whenever we ride, we've got some people who take it really, really seriously. But to me, it's a charity event. We give up our time. We pay to do it. Every single penny we raise goes to the charity. So there's no getting help with the funding, etc. It's you and you give it up and everything. And I can remember on the second night, we were having a few beers like we always do at the end of the day. and people had the windows open because it was hot and that, and the fella came out in his pajamas and he walked over to us. We were just roaring and laughing, having taken the banter and everything. And he moved and he went, I'm awful sorry. He said, but we've got we're on a long charity cycle ride. He said, would you mind keeping the noise down? We went, so are we. And he looked at us and then just turned away and just walked back, shaking his head.
So are there any more serial challengers like yourself who go on all of these? Do you have like a little core group?
The cycle rides we've probably had the last 5-6 years. We've had 4 or 5 of us that tend to do it. We'll all phone each other. You're going to do it, and yeah, we do. But unfortunately, we have had some real bad crashes. The Coast to Coast last year, one of the guys came off his bike, hit a tree, and probably if he didn't have his helmet on, he'd be dead. Broke his shoulder, punctured his lung, broke 3 ribs. Yeah, he was off for 5 months, 4 or 5 months.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it can be, coming down hills when it's wet and you turn a corner, and there's been a good few of them. I usually am on my brakes as I'm coming down. Yeah. But even when you're on your brakes, you're doing 25 mile an hour. So yeah, no, they're all tough. None of them have been easy, and there isn't a hill that I haven't been able to get off and walk up a little bit of after. So yeah, these little legs do 2 to every one of most people's big bikes. So yeah.
Amazing.
So moving forward, then, when you so say someone wants to donate, for example, Helen will put the link on, obviously, and we're going to share it again tomorrow. Even if someone wants to £1.
Listen, it doesn't matter. Every single pound helps to fit that vocational centre out. So yeah, we say to anyone, whatever you can afford, because we know times are hard and times are tough for everybody. But for those that can and would like to, then yeah, we've got a link for it. Yeah. So
okay, brilliant. So we'll put the links on after, Hel, will we?
Yeah, I'll definitely put the links up, and also if I'm sure we will get some little photographs from you, on your journey. So
when we're away, I'll settle.
When you're away, you'll be sending them to our group, and we'll filter the ones out that we can share. Because I think people want to know what you've been a guest, and then people want to know like where you are up to. So Fran McNichol was our guest, wasn't she? And
she did a trek across
Mongolia, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah.
And she was updating on her social medias, and we were sharing that. But she was away for 3 months, wasn't she?
Right.
And so we were sharing that because it's quite nice for people to see. So as Sandra and I both say every week, people who come on our show go on to do amazing things.
You wouldn't believe it. Winning competitions, singing in the Barbican, you've no idea. This is the platform to stardom. So, you know what I mean. You'll be on Graham Norton after this. That's the way it goes.
As long as I'm not in the red chair.
You'll be running up Everest. So are you going to do Everest, Pete?
I'd like to. Yeah. I mean, they've got another trip next year, so we'll see. See how this one goes first.
This one will be
see if it come back.
Yeah, this one will be a good one because it's.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a challenge, but it's a nice challenge because you're going to see what you're creating and where the money's going, isn't it? And then and then go for a little walk after. And
people. I've listened to Aunt Middleton's audiobook about it. People listen to it or read his book and are inspired to do it. I was like recoiling in horror. But there we go.
Brilliant. Amazing. So, well, we wish you all the very, very best. And I know that you'll absolutely smash it because you do smash everything that you put your mind to. So we know that that's going to definitely happen. And we'll share the links with everybody and everybody can get involved on it. So, San, do you have a red face this week?
Funny enough, Helen, I do have a red face this week. I haven't had them. And I had one and I thought, I'll have to remember that. And then I've forgotten it, obviously. But one little one happened today. And you reminded me of it when you said about perfume before. So I was in my dressing table. I had the little drawer, and I had like a Ted something someone got me for Christmas the other girl who worked for me the other year, a few years ago anyway, and there was this little thing, and I thought, oh, that's that Ted Baker perfume, you put it on. So put it on my wrist like that, put it on me, and then I thought, it's really greasy. And then I looked at the bottom and it was lip balm. So I put my hand on it and I'd gone like that, la 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 la, because it's still there now. It's really greasy on me now. And I thought, oh, typical. So I thought I'll probably break out now with that. I'll pass that one this way. I've got two actually. So then
what's the second one?
My clients, and the Baltic Bakehouse is amazing. So my clients this morning who are teaching English to wanted specifically to go there. So I said, fine, no problem at all. I met her there, we had our lesson. So we had a drink, and it's, I'm gluten-free, but she does do sourdough. So, because I'm not a proper celiac, I'm just intolerant. I can sometimes have a go of a little tiny slither of sourdough, which it turned out I couldn't. But anyway, so I had that, and then we had the soup. So I said, oh, say some lunch, because we had a long lesson because we were just chatting for ages. So we had the soup. And and she was like, oh, yes, okay. And we'd just been talking, and she said, I don't really eat spicy food at all. Oh, my God. It was beautiful soup, absolutely beautiful. But my lips were like that. And I'm quite good with spicy stuff. It was so, and she was like this, being really polite, eating it. And I couldn't see, she was like dying. And I was like, really haven't got a bit of yogurt to put on it or something. It was just so spicy. So I was mortified, absolutely mortified, but she's loving it. And she was in an absolute sweat eating this. I think it kills all known germs.
Well, there you go. You needed to kill your little germs. So
Have you had one this week?
No, I think I've been quite good this week. I was trying to think, but I actually think I've been quite good this week.
I've had 2 for you then, haven't I?
Thank you. Well, it's been a while.
Well, I didn't know the red face had to be this week, but I can tell you one from quite some time ago when I went
it doesn't have to be. It can be from whenever.
So I was about 17 or 18 at the time. It was probably early December. And my mum's washing machine wasn't working. So she sent up the quilts and all the quilt covers to be washed by Auntie May upstairs, who isn't really Auntie, but, you all called them Auntie, didn't you? She washed it, and for whatever reason, she washed it a different soap powder to what Mum normally uses. So Mum put it back on the bed. I slept that night. I woke up the next morning and my feet had swelled to about 3 times the size of me normal, and I must have had a reaction to the soap powder in some way.
Nasty.
So I had to phone in the office, as you do, and you go, I can't come into the office because I can't get my shoes on. I can't get slippers on. I can't get anything on because my feet have swelled like the elephant man. Now, whether they believe me or not, I thought, well, it's quite a good excuse, isn't it? No one's probably come up with that one before, but yeah.
That's a brilliant one.
That was it. Yeah. But I did win a competition on Radio City telling that story. So it actually worked.
What did you win?
Oh, I can't remember. It was, can't remember what it was, but it was, I won it for being the most
brilliant.
Embarrassing moment. Yeah.
What's the worst excuse you've ever had for someone not turning up for work?
Oh my God.
And this was a teacher, a secondary school teacher who gave this as an excuse. How hard if they're listening, because I still think it's ridiculous. He said they'd brush the teeth with Imac instead of how's that even a thing? Whatever. That was the excuse for not coming to work. I thought, nah. So hilarious.
Is it like his teeth are going to fall out, is it?
Yeah.
What did he have an allergic reaction? Could he not speak?
No idea, but the deputy was crying and laughing when he walked in and told his staff at the height of indiscretion. Guess what? It was a surprise. Yeah, absolutely mental. So there we go. Yeah. Anything to stay off school.
That's crazy. That's absolutely, yeah. No, I used to just say to everybody, just like tell the truth. You know what I mean? So if you're hungover or you, just say you're hungover, because you get found out anyway, don't you? So
yeah,
definitely.
Because I worked in a pub, didn't I? So it was like one girl, we never used to put her on a Monday because she never come in because she used to go out on a Saturday night and not come home.
And hang on a minute, it brings me to another embarrassing moment when I was on a marketing course in the lockdown with Helen, and I rang Helen and I went, I'm dying, I'm hungover, blah, 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 which is very rare for me because I hardly drink. And I was going, oh my God, just say this, just say that. So she gets on and tells them all I've got a terrible hangover and can't do the course. And I was like, oh, horrified. Terrible. You never own up to your hangovers.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, it's life, isn't it? Right, okay, so we shout out.
Oh, she's frozen. This happens, Peter. Helen always freezes. Right. It's always towards the end of the show as well.
Right, okay.
Don't know what
I was about to say. 10 minutes from the end, and it freezes. Do you know what I think it is? The dog's gone under the desk, and I don't know if she presses something. Shout out to the grown-ups, any grown-ups who've done amazing things.
You go first, Hal.
Well, I'm going to give a shout out to me and you, Sam.
Why?
Because it's our 2nd birthday. So Success in the City is it'll be on the 21st, wow. But that's so it's this week.
Right.
So I found my book because I have a little book where I write everything of all the guests. And this is my old one that I started with. So I've kept that. And I went to the start and I thought, I'm sure it's round about now. And it was 2 years ago that we started the show.
We had Ben on.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? Our first guest ever. How good's that?
2 years. So I want to give a shout out to all of our past guests for just doing amazing things. And, they carry on just doing everything that they were on the show for. And, it's lovely to see all the success stories and the people who we've met and just seeing people just still doing dead cool stuff. So my massive shout out to the grown-ups is our past 2 years worth of guests.
Fabulous. Peter, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to? Any grown-ups?
Well, do you know what? I didn't know you were going to do a shout out to adults, so I will give a shout out to you too, because I think what you do is brilliant, and I think it's really good to promote people in our own city who are doing wonderful things, and there are many people who do. You could give a shout out to An Hour for Others. So Jill and Kevin, who opened their new place down in Chubrook. Again, people who gave up their working lives to actually make the city better and make the people in the community better. So I'll give a shout out to them and also to you too.
Oh, thank you very much.
We like sycophantics unite now because so they get loads of mentions because we love Jill and Kev and all the great work they're doing locally. And again, as you say, a vision, and but there's so many wonderful charities, and not just charities, but just really cool people locally doing great stuff. So this is my last shout out because for Danny de Brabender, because I give him a shout out a lot. And with my lovely shirt, clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. And we're going to put the link on. We're just waiting for those links and we'll be putting them so you can order a sweatshirt and all the money goes to charity for their further acts of kindness they've done this week. But Peter, my massive shout out was, and this is sycophantic, this is what I'm saying, Helen, for just going with this, because I was like, okay, we do this. And then when the radio station closed, we were like, oh, well, that's that. And she was like, no, come on, let's carry it on. And it's mad now. And loads of people don't watch it now. They watch it later in the week or on other platforms, etc. And then to yourself, because people don't know. And but you, on a personal level, you just helped me so much when I was in a really desperate situation, and sat down with me and did a plan with me and taught me through it and said, this is what you're going to do, this is what you're going to do, this is what you're going to do. And I have that piece of paper in my office, and that's what I've still got to do that. But that helped me massively. So I'm massively grateful to you as a person, honestly. So thank you. They're my shout outs to the grown-ups this week.
Well, I will give one more. Go on, I've got one more shout out because I finished on. I was on the board of Positive Futures, which is based around Everton, Liverpool way, back at the Everton place. And Claire Corrin and the board that I was involved in for over 10 years. Positive Futures is just a fantastic youth charity that do so much work, both in the field. They never really get a lot of promotion in terms of for the great work that they do. they've started the first positive home, which is basically taking young people in, which hopefully will filter through to the services that Positive Futures provides as well. So I'd just like to give a good shout out to them because they are a fantastic charity too.
Amazing. And Darren, who's coming on, so Darren from Walton Youth, he works very closely with Positive Futures because they're not very far away, and they work really closely together and stuff. And it might be worth going in and getting one of them to come on from Positive Futures to share.
Should get Claire to come on.
Yeah. We'll ask Claire. Yeah, because they do amazing work, and their little the centre and setup's amazing, isn't it? You know, it
is for what it is in two local sort of garages. Really, it's an amazing place.
Yeah, they do great stuff, don't they? Yeah, so big shout out to all of them. So do we have a positive challenge, Pete? A little something that you want to get everyone to do this week? Could be a smile at a stranger. It could be something to do with your trip. It could be maybe getting out.
I think that everybody really should try and keep healthy and stay positive. Even if it's only a little walk around the block, you know, some people struggle to even walk around the block, but if you can sort of just get a little bit of grit, get yourself out there, do a little bit of just a walk, just doesn't matter what it is. I know I'm going where I'm going, but even somebody getting out the house, walking around the block, and then build that up over a number of weeks, and you'll soon find that you can get healthy again. So
brilliant. I think that's a good tip. And you say that, Helen, don't you, every day, that everyone should go out their front door every single day.
Leave your front door.
Walk around the block. Just if you can get out the house, get out the house.
Yeah.
Just even a small walk, just something, keep moving all the time.
Yeah, I think Pete and I are very similar in the way, like sports and things like that. That's sort of our let off type thing, isn't it? So I've had a bit of a funny afternoon, and I come in and I was like, and I thought, what can I do? And I thought, right, come on, dog. And it was beautiful. It was like dead blue skies. It was sunshine. It was like dead nice. And we've got a little 5K round with little route that we do. And it was basically, and I never ever listen to podcasts or music or anything when I'm walking. I always like just to listen to the noises. And today I thought, no, and I just put my ears in, and I just went for a little walking. Well, we had a little 5K with the dog, and it was just to sort of like.
So what she's saying is, what she's saying is the coffee she had with me wasn't enough.
Yeah,
had a quick coffee.
That's why I needed the walk around the block.
And the caffeine.
It's what the dog wanted to go for a walk again after the dog muddy event at the weekend.
Oh, she could have carried on forever. We did the 5K, and it would have been better, in all fairness, if it was a 10K, because she was proper getting into it as we.
The most hyperactive dog ever.
Yeah, on the second lap, she would have been. She was hilarious. The first one, we had to jump into like a big inflatable. It was like a big swimming pool type thing, and it was like so deep with water, and had all the little ball pits. Balls, and she has to jump in and run. So she runs and she jumps in, and then her eyes were just like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" And then then you had to crawl through a maze, and we had to go through tires and all things like that.
Some dogs probably didn't want to get out of that bit and move on.
No, she was boss. She was that good, and then she did the big high on the ramp things. The fella said, "Oh, she's only little. Just get her to do that one." I said, "Oh, she'll do that one." Straight up and over, yeah. So yeah, she's cool. So our time is up. We're going to wish Pete all the luck in the world on his trip to Nepal. We will share some photographs of his journey. We know he's going to smash it. We'll share the links if anybody wants to donate. That'd be amazing. It's going to a great cause, and I think it's great that Pete's actually going to see where the money's going, which is lovely.
Sorry, I just meant to say, as well as helping Nepal, the match funding is going to Onside, which is for another youth zone in the UK. So it's we're doing for both. So yeah.
Brilliant.
That's good, isn't it? 50.
And it's great that they match fund. It makes a big difference, doesn't it? The match fund that makes a massive difference. So yeah, amazing. So we're going to let Pete. So Mark Bryan, who's our guest last week, who's on every billboard, every newspaper,
on everything.
We're proud of you. Yeah. And Peter's going to close the show with his positive quote mantra that he lives by.
So I remember reading a book about Bill Shankly when I was quite young. Bill Shankly's a hero of mine. I remember in his book, he said that every day you have your health is a good day. And it really is. So if you have a positive attitude and you have your health, what more could you ask for?
What more could you ask for? What a great finish. Bang on the money. And we'll see everybody next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you.